Hello, my first grade friends. How are you? I hope that you had a great week exploring our star pollinator, the butterfly. I want you to think back on another pollinator, the bee. If you have ever learned about dinosaurs, you know the word extinct. It means that there are no more anywhere on Earth. And unfortunately for our friend, the bee, he is on the endangered list, the honeybee. There's a lot of different kinds of bee, but the honeybee is responsible for a lot of the pollinating. And when we pollinate, we make more plants because seeds are produced. We know that pollinators go from flower to flower. They collect dusty pollen on them and they drop off. They are constantly in a cycle of picking up pollen and dropping off pollen. Well, in a world like we live in now, where there are not very many honeybees, people have begun hand pollinating, acting like bugs. I shared with you about my lemon tree, how I used a paintbrush to go from flower to flowering part of the lemon tree. And yeah, I suddenly had some more lemons. I'm not better than the bugs though, because once this tree got outside, it had begun to burst with all kinds of little teeny tiny lemons. We've got a bunch now. Swing on by. Our job this week is to think about hand pollinators. What properties would be useful in a hand pollinator? My brush acts like a bug. It is able to pick up and drop off pollen in the same way that the honeybee does, in the same way that the butterfly does. We will, next week, try our hand at designing our own hand pollinator. But because we're following the engineering design process, I want us to stop this week and ask some questions about what are hand pollinators. Now, I have given you some resources on our page. I've given you some resources in a picture form. I've seen pictures of people up on ladders with big brushes, pollinating, coming down on the ladder, pollinating, working like bugs all day long because honeybees are endangered. Remember, extinct means no more. There used to be a whole lot of bees and now they are endangered, which means there are less. We are going to think about the kinds of things that we could maybe have in our home. I had to think quickly when my lemon tree stopped producing lemons, and I had to find something that was a lot like a bug. The properties of a bug's legs are kind of fuzzy, and they were able to pick up and drop off pollen in the same way that the bug's body could. Now, you cannot use this because that would totally be cheating. We know that this works. Obviously, I've got tons of lemons. I want you to think about what other things you have in your house that could be like a bug's body or like a paintbrush end. And this week, you're going to ask questions about what is hand pollinating and where do we need to hand pollinate? Where are bees at the lowest number in our country? Because it matters. In a world without bees, our plates look very different. Very less fruits and vegetables available to us. And of course, those things are super duper yummy and very, very healthy, as our friend Miss Lowe's shares with us. Get yourself thinking about hand pollinators. Jot down some ideas for materials that you might have in your home that could be useful in hand pollinating. If you had my lemon tree and you were going to babysit it for the winter, what could you use to hand pollinate it? I've got some bugs right now, but I want lemons all year long. So when it gets cold, I'm gonna move him back inside. I hope that you are well. I miss you a ton. Please make sure that you're logging on to the website for the Science Lab so that you can do some of our weekday challenges. Mwah! Much love to you guys. See you soon.